Michael Jackson's birthday would have been today. He would have turned 64. Yesterday was your birthday. Murtala Issa, our Northern and Savannah regional correspondent. We just want to say we love you, Murtala, and keep up the hard work. We all appreciate you. You should send us some goods for your birthday so that we celebrate, okay? Shouts to you and have a pleasant week all week through. We just know that you'll have a great time because you're a great person. Today on this segment, we are talking about an alert that has been issued about the rising cases of drug abuse, particularly marijuana is of concern, and authorities are concerned about how the young people are using marijuana for the wrong purposes. Note that marijuana used for medicinal purposes is legal in Ghana, but how many people are using it for medicinal reasons and how many people are not? If you are a marijuana user, send us a message. What are your thoughts on this conversation? Should it be legalized? Should we market this herb, or should we all just abide by the health experts' advice and not use it unless it is for medicinal purposes? At the table, Narcotics Control have taken the seat, and I have two gentlemen with me, Mr. Kwame Nasechi Edu and Mr. Abdulaziz Ali of the Education Unit of the Narcotics Control Commission, the Greater Accra office. Gentlemen, good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
So, Kwame and Abdul, you are concerned that the young people are gradually getting more and more involved in the unlawful use of marijuana. Why is that a problem?
It's a problem, one, because it becomes a security issue. Our workforce, our future workforce, is gradually being destroyed with the use of drugs. We get a lot of very young, energetic people who could have added positive value to the economy of this country by virtue of doing something for themselves to earn living, but end up on the streets as addicts, as junkies, as people who put it, and gradually our workforce is dwindling, and we have very young people as young as 10, 12, 15 hooking up onto drugs. And so for when it comes to that, you and I, our security is at stake.
If you tell me that a 10-year-old is hooked on drugs, that is very bothersome to me, because how does that 10-year-old get access to that drug?
Unfortunately, let me say the availability of a commonly abused drug like marijuana is very common everywhere to find these days because of certain
it's not common. It's not everywhere. Not everywhere.
The fact is, if you want to get it, it is there.
Okay.
Yes.
So when we, Abdul, let me bring you in here. When we talk about abuse of marijuana, what exactly do we mean? Because we know that medicinal use is legal and it's allowed, and a lot of people have stories to tell about what they benefited from the use of this plant. When does it become an abuse?
When somebody repeatedly or take these drugs in excessive for non-medical reasons. I hear you say marijuana has been legalized, but
for medicinal purposes.
For medicinal, no, but I think that one is still in contention at the court. I think it was 4-3 against it being used as for medicinal purpose, because there is the content of THC in marijuana, a chemical called tetrahydrocannabinol, and then you have to get 0.03% of it, okay, to be used as medicinal purpose or whatever we want to use it. Until we get there, it cannot be legalized. So as I speak to you now, that is not in the pipeline. It's not being legalized.
Being put on hold.
It's on hold.
Even the legalization for medicinal purpose has been put on hold.
Yeah, there's a Supreme Court ruling to that effect. Yeah. I think somewhere early this month.
Yeah.
And you talk about people who abuse the herb being a danger to society, being a security risk. What really should persons who have already engaged in these things do. There are some people who are already there.
Yeah.
And so asking them to stop is more or less
difficult.
Yeah. So what becomes of these people? I'm sure that as narcotics control, you do some kind of evaluations, and so you may have some figures to share. What number of people are we talking about here?
I may not really have figures at hand for you, but we're talking of quite a good percentage of our young people hook up to drugs. You see, it is scary when you even have one person. Let me put it that way. It's quite scary when you even have one person who is hooked up onto drugs. At the end of the day, that one person can, how do I put it, influence others to join. So for us, we say if you have even one person to stop, that is a plus, because that one person could have influenced about 3, 4, 5 others. He stopped, and so definitely going to pull another 3, 4, 5 to his side to stop.
What age brackets are we looking at here? Who are the most risky demographic?
Well, according to the World Drugs report, we are looking at age 16 to 64, usually school-going age, and then adolescents who are involved in.
What's the age?
16 to 24, according to the World Drugs UNODC report on drugs.
And what does that report tell us about how they get access to the drugs? You're saying they are everywhere, but
usually it's, the most abused drug, as he said, we can't take marijuana out of it. Unfortunately, where we find ourselves as a country, marijuana grows well and it grows everywhere. So it is easily accessible, it is affordable, and then it is available everywhere, because one city you can get marijuana to buy, and it is, you go to our ghettos in the zongos, they are all over there. So that is basically it.
And your issue is with parenting. Why is parenting your most the focus of your education campaign?
Bringing up a child or training up a child starts from the home. Your formative ages, your formative years are with your parents. And so if you are able to instill very positive parenting styles into your child, the likelihood of a child going wayward and ending up using drugs could be heavily minimized. When you have a parent who is bonded so well with a child in the formative years and growing, is more likely to listen to the parent, and more likely to feel, I don't want to disappoint my parents, and so would not want to do things that will, one, hurt the parents, two, disappoint them, and not to bring the family also to shame or to disrepute.
But we say all these things and they are nice and good, but the reality on the ground is people do abuse these drugs, and sometimes the parents are the last to find out. So
yeah, basically the prevention starts from parenting. I think there are certain things that parents have to watch out for in their children. We are all busy out there going to town to make money, but we've left some loopholes behind. Who have we left our children to? In the hands of who? So parents should be more concerned about all these things. Make time for their children, and then just don't leave them for the society to take in charge of them. We should listen to them, as my brother said, and also let them also express themselves. They should be able to say what is bothering them, and then you judge, and then you find solutions to it. I read something from Cafe Day yesterday, and it hits right on the nail when it comes to this issue of parenting and
asking
drugs.
parents to make random
Yes,
stops at their
so
children's school.
he's saying that pay random unannounced visit is very, very important, because you've left your kids in the hands of teachers. Okay, and you are in town or you are at workplace, you don't know what is happening. Can you pay a random visit to your children in school? He limited it to university, but I'm broadening up to involve even kids in primary, JSS, SHS. How often have we been able to do this, to pay visits, on an anonymous visit to them without knowing, to those schools, to find out who and what your children are into? their friends. Who are their friends? What are they doing whilst you are away? Some of our parents, the kids are asleep when they leave home, and by the time they come back, the kids are gone back to bed. So in between, what is happening? Have you left them in the hands of the society? Yes, money is good to come by. It's good to make money. But if you are not careful in the long run, the money that you make, you rather be using it into trying to get treatment for your child who has gone into drugs.
I saw that you wanted to add something.
With parenting, as I'm saying, we have about 4 types of parenting types. We have the authoritarian, we have the authoritative, we have the permissive, and we have the uninvolved. And so,
how do these differ from each other?
They differ because the authoritarian is the type that will say, I have set these rules and regulations. Don't touch this phone. Why? Because I have said so. No reason to the child. The authoritative is the one who will set the rules. Don't touch this phone. Why? It is meant for daddy and not for you. He will try to give an explanation to why this rule has been set for the child to understand. The permissive is the one, I'll set the rule, but I will not really enforce the regulations I have put by it. So if you touch this phone, probably I'm not going to let you watch TV. The authoritative parent would go by the rules. The permissive one, I've said don't do it, but if you flaunt it, it's okay. The uninvolved is the type that is not there. He's not there in the child's life, and as a parent, you need to be present in your child's life.
And how do all these parenting styles play when it comes to the bigger conversation of helping children not to abuse drugs?
If we have the authoritative type, or a blend of probably the authoritative and the permissive, for example, he set the rule, but you must be able to enforce the rule. Let the child understand why he or she shouldn't do so. The parent is likely, the child is likely not to get into drugs, for example. Just about 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, we had a program at La in the community. And as we were talking to the youth, a parent came in there and said he wanted to contribute. She wanted to contribute, a lady. He said, look, because of what you people do in the town, that is in Ghana, they say La Mami, I don't allow my child to come to Mami. I don't allow my child to come to the town because he feels the influence, the negative influence the child might fall into if he allows that child to come there. That is a parent who is present in the child's life, who wants the child to get somewhere. And there are others who, they don't care. Everybody's child is in town, so me too, you can go there and go and play. Okay, I, for example, grew up in Adabraka. I come out of my house, there's a park, we play football. But I knew my mom doesn't encourage us to do that. And even the community knew. So even if you are there to play and my mom is coming, immediately they see her pop up, they'll shout, "Oh, mommy, bye." Literally mean your mom is coming. And we have to find our way and go. So it's quite difficult for a child of that nature, raised up in that nature, to disappoint the parent, because you feel if I go and do something wrong, my parents are there. In the same community, we have kids who the parents did not care. Whether they go wherever they go, whatever they do, they don't care. We need parents who care and who are involved in their children's life. That's what we want parents to be. No matter how busy your schedule is, at least find a little time. 10, 15, 20 minutes, sit, have a conversation with your child, be involved in your child's life, try to find out your child's interest and what your child likes and what your child does, and be a little bit involved in that child's life. We are not saying imprison your child, no. That one where they get the liberty and they step out of freedom.
So more of reiterating the train up a child in the way he should go.
Yes.
And then when he grows old, he won't depart from it. But some have departed. And so for those, I ask again, who find themselves abusing drugs, addicted to drugs, parents who find that their children have become addicts of some sort, what kind of help is available, and what can they do?
I think first of all, they need to seek for professional advice. With us, with Narcotics Control Commission, we have a whole department that deals with counseling. So we do counseling and then referral, because we don't have rehabilitation centers. So what we do is that we counsel you and then refer you to the rehabilitation center. The danger is that, when you start doing these drugs early, as the age bracket we have spoken about, the probability that you become addicted later in life is very high. So when we get there, it is very, very difficult to bring this person back to normality. But there is hope, because we have rehabilitation centers. But the bad news is that these centers are very expensive, and we have few ones in the system.
So they are private.
They are private. They are not government. The ones that we have, Ankerfall and then Accra Psychiatric Hospital, these are government ones. But we have other private ones, but they are expensive because of the treatment that go in there. So usually we will preach to you that don't even start, because the brain has been made in such a way that it completely develops at the age of 25. So when you start doing drugs at your early stage, it develops with the brain. So that's why we are saying that if you start early, the probability of you becoming an addict later in life is very high. All right. So when we go to the schools, when we go to religious bodies, our preaching is that don't start it. If you are doing it, stop.
When you come across people who make the argument that perhaps Mr. X or Madam X has used, for example, you're talking about marijuana for years, they've smoked it for years, they've smoked cigarettes for years, and nothing has happened to them. They never went mad, they never misbehaved, they never harmed anyone, and they even go on to say it helped them do X, Y, and Z. What do you tell them, and how do you let them understand that that may not be what it is?
Usually there are some myths in this, as in you taking drugs and you being able to do something. There's a myth to that assertion. It is not true. This issue about doing what do you call it? I've forgotten this. Come in. I've forgotten.
You see, it's a myth, as he's saying.
Yeah.
But there are people who have gone on just once. Their first try, it doesn't go well for them. You see, smoking marijuana or getting involved in drugs, it's like drinking alcohol. So for us in narcotics, we always say alcohol is the gateway drug to these hard drugs. Somebody might drink a bottle of beer and not get drunk. Another person drinks a bottle of beer and misbehaves. Somebody has drunk for so many years, he or she is okay. Someone takes in a couple of drinks and becomes a wayward person. It's the same way as smoking. We are different human beings. Our body composition is totally different. Do you get me? If you give me hot pepper, I may run. You probably will take hot pepper and not run. It doesn't mean that pepper is bad.
So it doesn't mean that marijuana is bad then, if you're making that same argument.
It is. There's that school of thought that marijuana is good. But what we are preaching is that there is this high THC component, which is a psychoactive chemical, which you find in marijuana.
When you say psychoactive, explain that to
us. It's chemicals that affect your brain or your central nervous system. And so basically, when you take some of these hard drugs, marijuana, cocaine, heroin, even what we call RX drugs, prescription drugs, which people are abusing today, tramadol and co, all end up affecting your brain. I hope you follow me.
Oh, yeah.
They all end up affecting your brain. And so what you are teaching your brain becomes, none of us, our body or our brain can stand or withstand these high THC levels.
Okay, let's wrap this up. What message do you want to send to anyone watching us this morning on what this alert should mean to them?
For parents, I just want to leave this message that let us be involved in our parents' life. Let us be a part of our children's life. Let us be part of our children. They are growing up. Let us show concern. Let us just not leave them there. I've sent them to secondary school and that is all. I've sent them to school and the school take care of them. No. You must be involved. You must know what is happening with your children wherever they are.
Okay.
What I'll add is that we should also listen and talk to them. They might have issues that will need urgent attention. If you are a type of parent that always, shout on the child when he is about to say something to you, the child will feel insecure. The next thing that child does is that he goes back to the society where he has a group of people who are willing to listen to him. So anything they offer for such a child, he picks it up. And then you will see that slowly you are losing your child. So we should listen to them when they come. We should ask them questions, not open-ended. We should ask them questions that will receive answers and they will explain things. Then we'll be picking certain things from them, and then the needed advice we need to give to them. So once we are able to do that, I think it will go a long way to help our children.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for making time this morning for this conversation. Kwame Naseti Edu and Abdulaziz Ali of the Education Unit of the Narcotics Control Commission, the Greater Accra Regional Office, here on a drive today calling on parents to be more involved in their children's lives, as an alert has gone out that drug abuse among young people has gone up. Marijuana use for medicinal not still illegal in Ghana, so do be on the lookout for that and be safe out there. And we'll have another round of conversations when we return from this break. Remember, we are watching GTV Breakfast Live. We'll be back.